All right, so what I'm doing here is setting up a continuous loop to clean all the liquid lines in my kegerator here. I have 4 taps and I want to just go ahead and clean them all at once. And so I'm going to set up a loop to run liquid line cleaner through them all and let them get cleaned up all at once without having to do them individually. And also I'm using a pump here to pump it around so that I'm not like using CO2 gas to push it through and wasting that, or using an air compressor where you need a oil water separator, something like that as well. So some of the key things I've got here is I've created my bucket here. I filled it with the cleaning solution mixed up, and I had to make sure that I had enough to cover my pump. There, good. And then what I'm doing is setting up a loop where I am sending it in through the first tap. It's gonna come out that liquid line. I've got it jumpered over to the next line where it'll come out and back in the next tap, and then I'm gonna jumper these 2 lines together for it to come out again. One of the key components is one of these double post jumpers that you can use to click the lines on together in the back end and create that loop there. And we'll see that here. So we'll go ahead and plug in the pump and get started. What I like to do is I've got another bucket right over here that I like to dump the initial load of beer that's in the lines out, and then I'll move the line over to the bucket to create that continuous cycle. Let's go ahead and get started. Plug in the pump, open up all of the taps, and we'll see that we have beer coming out of the final tap there. And so once this all gets cleared up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and move the line over to the other one. We can also see up here in the lines are starting to clear up as well. So we're getting pretty close to having it being pretty clear. There's just a little bit of color right here, and that's going away now. So let it run for just a moment here, and then I'm going to switch it over. Okay, it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to just move the return line over now and let it do its recirculation. I'll let this go for 20 minutes or so. Just let it get good and clean. There's one thing you'll notice is there's not like a ton of flow through there, but it's certainly enough to keep the lines for the beer full, and those are being cleaned, and that's what's important. I'm not worried about trying to clean these lines. I'm trying to clean the beer lines. The other advantage is when you have an even number of taps, I can go ahead and tuck these things back into the fridge and keep the fridge cold while I'm doing the recirculation. If you have an odd number of lines, then what you have to do is have your jumper dump into the bucket. So hopefully you have lines long enough where you can just come from the 3rd tap into the bucket to create the loop that way. I connected these lines up here where these are Perlick faucets here, and a 1/2-inch hose. You can just get it to stretch right on there, and I just hose clamp it right on the end of the tap there. You can heat up the hose with some hot water if needed to get those to clamp on there. This last is an inter-tap faucet, and it lets you unscrew, and you can put on these style that have a barb. And so that last one's got a barb on it that makes it really easy to connect a hose to. These are the ones that I took off, so I'm gonna just go ahead and let those soak in there to clean. After it runs for 20-30 minutes or so, I'll empty my bucket. I will refill my bucket with fresh water, and I'll use Star San as a sanitizer probably, and then recirculate the sanitizer through to have the beer lines sitting there with sanitizer, and they'll be ready for when I'm ready to hook up my next beer. All right, and I think that's it. Thank you for watching.